Welcome to Nana's Crafty Home. My name is Tanya. Today's tutorial is going to show you how to work the moss crochet stitch. This is also known as the linen stitch, the woven stitch, the granite stitch. So it has a lot of different names. I recently designed a new pattern for my website, the Ferris wheel granny square hat, and the main body of the hat I used the moss stitch. I really enjoy working this stitch. It is beginner friendly. All you need to know is how to work a single crochet and a chain in order to make this really beautiful, trendy, modern stitch. If you would like to learn more or you would like the free pattern, I will have a link provided below in the description of this video, so you can head on over to that free pattern for the hat. I am going to show you today how to work the moss stitch both flat, row by row, as well as round without a seam. So you'll be able to work this stitch without having a join. For this tutorial, I am using Lion Brand Scarfy yarn that I had in my stash, and I am also using the matching hook that goes with this yarn, a size J or a 6.0 millimeter crochet hook. You can use any yarn that you would like for the stitch and just use a corresponding crochet hook size that goes with the yarn that you're choosing. So let's go ahead and get started. When you're working the moss stitch, you're going to start with an even number of chains for your beginning chain, and for the sample I'm going to chain 38. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to start with working the moss stitch row by row or flat, and I'm going to, for row 1, work 1 single crochet in the second chain from my hook. So I'm going to skip that first chain, work a single crochet in that second chain. Then I'm going to chain 1, skip the next chain, and work a single crochet in the next. Chain 1, skip the next chain, single crochet in the next, and that is my stitch repeat for this row. Chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next. So continue repeating that to the end of the chain. So I've reached the end of my chain, working that stitch repeat of single crochet, chain 1, skip the next one. So when you get to the end of your chain, you're going to be chaining 1, skipping 1, and you'll have a single crochet in your last chain. Now I'm ready to move on to row 2. I'm going to turn and chain 1. I'm going to single crochet in that same stitch. At the base of that chain 1, I'm going to work a single crochet in that same stitch. Now I'm going to go ahead and work a single crochet in that chain 1 space from the previous row. Now I'm going to begin my stitch repeat. Chain 1, skip that single crochet stitch, and work a single crochet in the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space. So I'm skipping over those single crochet stitches and working all of my single crochet stitches for this round in chain 1 spaces, other than the beginning and the end of the row. I will be working my single crochets in the chain 1 spaces. So just continue that to your last stitch, chaining 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space. End of that row, I've worked a single crochet in that last chain 1 space. I'm not going to chain 1, I'm going to work a single crochet in that last stitch. So for row 3, we're going to turn, chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch. Now I'm going to chain 1, skip over that next single crochet in the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, and continue repeating that same stitch sequence to my last stitch. So I'm at the end of row 3. I'm skipping over that next stitch and I'm working a single crochet in the last stitch. And that is my stitch repeat. So you're going to be repeating rows 2 and 3, my last 2 rows, to your desired size. So you're just going to continue repeating row 2 and 3 until you get to the size desired or specified in your pattern. So continue on. When I come back, I will show you a nice swatch and how this looks worked up. You can see I've worked several rows, and you can see this really beautiful, soft, gentle texture that this stitch has. I can really see why this stitch is called the woven stitch by some people, because it truly does look woven. It's such a classy and beautiful modern stitch. I really love it. The only thing is that it does work up somewhat slowly because you are working your single crochets in the chain 1 spaces from your previous row, so it does take a while to grow your project, but it is a very soothing, relaxing stitch to work. And it's a nice stitch to work on, kind of a mindless, relaxing stitch. So we're ready to move on to working the moss stitch in the round. When you're working the moss stitch in the round, you are going to be chaining an even number of chains, just as you would for the working it flat or row by row. So my sample chain here is 38 again. And to start your first round, you're going to slip stitch into your first chain that you made, making sure you're not twisting your chain, and slip stitch to that first chain. For round 1, I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to skip the next chain and single crochet in the next chain. Chain 1, skip the next chain, single crochet in the next, and just repeat that stitch pattern to the end of your chain. When we get to the end of this round, we're going to work in the last chain our final single crochet. We are not going to slip stitch join at the beginning. Here is my chain 2 from the beginning of that round. Instead of joining, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to work a single crochet in that chain 2 space. And we would want to go ahead, when you're working in the round and you're working in continuous rounds like this without a slip stitch join, it is very helpful to go ahead and put a stitch marker in to keep track of where you're at, how many rounds that you've done, and where the beginning of each round begins. So now we're just going to go ahead and continue on in our stitch pattern with chaining 1, skipping over that next single crochet, and working a single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space. And I'm going to work that same stitch pattern all the way around. And what's great about this is that I'm never going to be doing a slip stitch join, and I'm just going to be repeating this around and around to my size desired. I'm going to move up my stitch marker from the first stitch. When I get around to the end of this round, I would move up my stitch marker and continue doing that from round to round. But you're just going to continue repeating that around, never worrying about doing any kind of a slip stitch join. working a single crochet in every chain one space and chaining one in between. And you can see here I'm getting back to the beginning of that round, and I'm just going to work right through it. So I've worked through the beginning of the round. I'm now working on my third round of my moss stitch. And you can see here we have no seam at all, so this gives this a very nice polished professional look. And I'm just going to continue this on to my size desired or to the pattern specifications. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, you can find me on social media, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have any questions about any of my patterns or tutorials, please reach out to me. You can send me an email at nanascraftyhome@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe to me on my YouTube channel so you never miss a new video. Take care, everyone. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.